Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. It will be a continuation of the central cannon versus greenhouse defense with the left riverbank horse variation. This should be the last video in the series of opening Tabia. I hope you have enjoyed the entire series, and I thank all who have participated in the poll initially to decide what opening system I should do. And again, I would like to thank Master Xiangqi and Grandmaster Xiangqi for allowing me to use the material in their book to produce this short video. I hope that it would help everybody's game, for I've enjoyed their material a lot. So, without further ado, let us begin this last lesson. Central cannon, greenhouse defense, 7th pawn advancement for both colors, pawn rank chariot, riverbank horse, left riverbank horse variation. Again, red plays issue +7. In this board, this will be the position of this guy. Now, instead of consolidating the central file, black could play 1+1. Now, this is one of the newer ways of playing the position for black, and this is quite it's a counter that packs quite a powerful punch. Now, by playing R1+1 to develop the right chariot, black aims to start a quick and rapid counter attack. And it would be very hard for the game to return to a very calm situation. Instead, there will be many intense positions whereby the margin of error is very minimal. The rank chariot would traverse across the palace and try to add a lot of pressure over here. So this would become a contest of speed. And also black would also try to gain the element of surprise. So faced with R1+1, usually red would play P5+1 because black did not consolidate his central file. So a common sense approach would be to play P5+1. Now this would be the position of discussion. There was a relatively new way of attacking for red in this position, which is h(c8+4). So there was not much information, just some moves, as we shall see. Okay, black would consolidate. Since the chariot had already been developed as a right chariot, e7+5 would be the logical choice, because there will be no need for black to develop his chariot as a kingside chariot, and also red would have black would have the extra option of playing r8=7 to strengthen his attack, and red will continue with c8=5 to trade material very early in the game, develop his chariot. Now, as can be seen, with this attack, the black chariot is prevented from crossing the palace. So this is one advantage of this variation for red. And red will get to develop his left chariot very early in the game, as opposed to the earlier bots. Now black would have his way of countering, r8=6, since the cannons are now linked. And red will make a very nice move of p5+1 at this point. This would threaten the horse, and black would be forced to play p7+1 to attack the chariot. The chariot retreat. Black would now try all his best to dislodge the central cannon, which is a major threat. And the pawn would now cross the river in the nick of time to protect the cannon, and also threaten to capture the black horse. h6+8 would be black's very efficient counter, whereby the cannon will now be attacking the red chariot. But there was nothing that red had needed to fear. He just simply play r2=3. So this was quite a relatively new variation back then, back in the 1990s or 2000. So there was not much discussion about this variation in the book, unfortunately. So back to our book, our main line, p5 plus 1 for an attack along the central file. Now, faced with red's impending p5 plus 1, black would continue with p7 plus 1, trying to dislodge it. So as can be seen, the situation is getting sharper and more intense by the moment. So faced with this, the the attack by the black horse on the red chariot, how how would red reply? There are two main variations. First would be r2 minus 1 and the other would be r2 equals to 4. So for variation A, r2 minus 1 was played, whereby black would now threaten to capture the horse. Black would play h6 plus 7, and red would take the opportunity to attack the central file in this manner. Black decides to give up the central pawn and try to force a very powerful counter attack. Now, black would choose to ignore this threat for the moment. This was a tactical combination that black had planned all along after playing r1 equals to 7. So how should red reply? h3 plus 5 is advocated. p5 plus 1, no matter how tempting it might be, is not a good idea in this at this point, because black would resolve the check with a6 plus 5. Let's say if red tried to traverse the pawn to gain material, black would have a c8 equals to 5 for a cross check. Now, once this move is played, red will be placed in a dilemma, because if he traded, he would have to resolve this check immediately. So if p6 equals to 5 were played, the chariot would be lost. Now, if red played c8 equals to 5, this flank would become empty, and the resulting situations would be very compact and intense. So that is why p5 plus 1 is not a good idea, but instead red should take his time, develop his material with h3 plus 5. The black pawn will now start to do damage, advancing, threatening the horse. Red will take the opportunity to jump the horse across the river, again threatening the pawn. And at this point, it is advocated that red choose to trade material with h6 plus 7. Moving the cannon out of harm's way is not a good idea, despite its seemingly logical intentions, because black would simply advance the pawn across the river and it will now be breathing on the red king's neck. And after consolidating his defense and sacrificing material, the black pawn would now have reached. Black would be compensated with a pawn that had there was an immediate threat that red could not ignore. Now, the situation, the ensuing possibilities are very intense, but red cannot attack without having to worry about this horse pawn and chariot combination right at his doorstep. So that is why p5 plus 1 is not a good idea, and instead red should play h6 plus 7. After trading material, as can be seen, black would link the chariots up and prepare to move either the cannon or the red horse. Now, in this situation, black would have seized the initiative, and it would be very hard for red to make any major profits from this position. So this is variation A. In variation B, sorry, it should be over here. Okay, variation B, R2 equals to 4 was played. Now, in this instance, it will be advised that P7 plus 1 to trade horses be played. So what would happen if H6 plus 7 were played immediately? Red would take the chance to advance the pawn across the river. Black will counter with the same direction cannons, a central cannon. And after trading away red's 2 cannons, black will try to pin material. Again, an attempted fork, but red can have a very nice move of r4 equals to 5. Red would have a slight advantage. And after playing r4 equals to 5, this left chariot will probably play r9 equals to 8 to threaten the cannon. The black pawn is also under the threat of capture. If it advances, the red horse will simply move to the central file and attack. So the centroid issue of the black centroid horse would become a major headache for black, and red would have the initiative. So it appears h6 plus 7 is not a good idea. Now, what about h6 plus 8 to threaten the horse immediately? This would not be a good idea either, because the horse was already, red had already prepared or was prepared to move the horse to the central. So now the black horse would actually have would not have any target for attack. Okay, let's say black advanced the pawn, preparing to play p7 equals to 6. Red will simply advance the central pawn for a to try to trade pawns, and red will gain and red will get a headhunter cannon. So this would be a very, very, very menacing threat right in the face of the black king. Let's say black attempted the elbow horse and also threatened the cannon. Of course, red would retreat his cannon and allow black to go for the elbow horse. Now, even black would have his opportunities, but comparatively speaking, the headhunter cannon would be a much more fearful entity than black's elbow horse attack. So that is why h6 plus 8 is not recommended. Neither would h6 plus 7 be. Instead, it was advocated that black trade material. Red would accept, and the pawn will now again trudge its way, getting closer to the red king. At this point in time, red should play c8 plus 4 as a steadfast approach. Now, would r9 plus 1 to try to defend the third rank be a good idea? The answer would be no. Black will simply protect his pawn, which is one of the uses of this rank chariot, if he were allowed to cross the palace. And red would counter pin with this move. So the situation on the board will become very sticky. Both colors would have their advantages, but they would also not be free from worries. So this would be a very sticky situation whereby it would be hard to control. c8 plus 4 would be the steadfast approach, and e7 plus 5, check, attacking the cannon, and after much maneuvering, red would have the slight advantage. Black would be threatening to attack the flank, but red would the central cannon would be breathing down on black's king. So a quick recap: the position of discussion or the main theme would be black's right rank chariot. Now, p5 plus 1 was the most popular method of attack in the past. The book recommended c8 plus 4 as one of the new ways of playing this position, but there was not much information. So if p5 plus 1 were played, black would still have to be active with p7 plus 1, and this will lead to two variations. One would be Variation A will be R2 minus 1, while variation B will be R2 equals to 4. In R2 minus 1 variation, if both cards played correctly, Black would have amassed 4 major pieces threatening to storm this flank, so it would be very hard for Red to make any profit from in this situation. In variation B, R2 equals to 4 was played, and the issue of how Black would deal with this horse and the pawn will become the topic of discussion. P7 plus 1 is advocated, and after trading pawns, after trading material, Red would still enjoy a slight advantage. So this marks the end of the discussions on the left Riverbank horse variation. I hope you have enjoyed the video and its contents, which I think is one of the best on the topic. And if you like the work that I've been doing, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.